What's up? This is your girl T. As a black woman in her 30s, I'm constantly trying to figure out life. But the one time of the week where it all seems to come together is on Sundays. Yeah, that's right. When I talk with my girls at brunch over a glass of champagne. I created this podcast to bring good vibes and open dialogue about various topics from mental health, relationships, personal development, the workspace, to the bubbly that happened over the weekend. Sundays are a time for celebration, rest, and reflection. So welcome to Champagne Sunday. Grab a glass, pop a bottle, and get ready to pour it up. Champagne Sunday is pleased to provide you with social media content for your personal education and informational purposes. Reliance on any information provided by Champagne Sunday or by any person or professional appearing on this podcast is solely at your own risk. Hey, welcome back to Champagne Sunday. It's your girl T, and I'm back with a mini episode, and I think I'm going to call these a pop because I'm going to pop in and then pop right back out. And, you know, we always love to pop champagne, pop bottles, you know what I'm saying? So this is going to be a little pop. And I have something on my mind that I would like to share. So I'm not going to go into like the words of affirmation, the bubbly and all that. I'm just going to go straight into it because we're going to go ahead and pop this bottle. So lately on Instagram and social media, there has been a viral video of Kim Kardashian who is talking about working hard, right? So this video goes really viral, and she basically tells people that they need to get their ass up and work. So I think Vanity Fair asked her, what advice would you give business persons or business women? I think women in business, I believe it was, because it was like International Women's Day. And she said that she would say, get your ass up and work, because nobody really wants to work nowadays. I would say work. And she also said that, and I think Chloe kind of chimed in and said something about cultivating a non-toxic work environment. So, of course, everybody went in about this comment. And I honestly just kind of sat back and listened to what people had to say. And for the most part, I did agree. Like, I'm no fan of the Kardashians. Like, I have to admit, my sister and I, we watched the show religiously back in the day. We used to watch before like Instagram, because now I feel like Instagram ruins all reality shows low key, because you get to see like what people are really doing. Reality shows that kind of focus on the who's who and kind of like the luxury living, because now everybody's fucking scamming, and I'm gonna get to that online and kind of doing their own thing. But I did want to go back into the whole Kim thing, because I was just sitting back, I was watching everyone talk about it, everyone give their opinion. A lot of things were repost, retagged, hashtag, and most part people were saying that Kim Kardashian has no right to speak on the working class and working, because she is of privilege, and she also, came from money. And even though she works, she like Hollywood works, she doesn't really work. Like, the things that she does isn't compared to anywhere near what the working class does. And I've also heard too people talking about what Chloe said about, because a lot of people don't really have a choice about cultivating their work environment. A lot of people just have to pay bills, so they have to work to pay the bills. And it's problematic also because the Kardashians have consistently appropriated the culture of Black people and taken from us and used it to monetize on certain brands and their brand and certain things within the beauty world, right? And they also portray these natural quote unquote bodies, trying to act as if those were made naturally, when we all know that they were not. And so anyway, so everybody just goes on about how Kim Kardashian has no right to talk about getting our asses up and working. And I agree with it. I mean, I agree with what everyone has to say. I totally agree with it. Again, I'm not a fan. I'm not caping for Kim K. At the same time, we have to admit, people, like, we honestly have to admit, the message is accurate. Like, I'm going to just be real. The message is accurate. We can all kill the messenger. And I think again, that's what with like TikTok culture and social media, everybody is so quick to fucking join a bandwagon. Like everybody has to join the bandwagon. And I remember back in the day, like, and I say back in the day, that's relative, but it was like Diddy. I really want to say it was Diddy, and I'm gonna say it was Diddy. He posted something a while ago. I remember this was, I think I still was in college, honestly, about everybody has the same 24 hours. He said that everyone had the same 24 hours and that you didn't really need sleep and that people need to be successful by really working really hard. And people were in the comments caping for that, saying he was right, saying that people don't work hard enough, people need to do more. Everyone had the opportunity to be successful and to be famous and even rich. Like everybody can do it if they put in the work. Kind of like pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of mentality. But because it was from Diddy, people accepted it and they were in the comments like, yeah, yeah, everybody got the same 24 hours. And I remember thinking how problematic that statement was because I was like, we all don't have the same 24 hours. Like everybody's 24 hours is fucking different. Like that is not the same. It's not the same. Nowhere near comparison. My 24 hours is probably nowhere near somebody who has a different job than I do, or a different lifestyle, or a different family, like a different culture. And, everybody is different, right? So I was like, that shit is stupid. Like, whatever. Everybody can't be fucking rich. That's just how it is. I mean, if everybody could be rich, then the numbers would reverse. It wouldn't be the 1% versus the 99, right? So, all that being said, people really easily join the bandwagon anytime they like the person who is giving the message. So if it's someone like Diddy, people will rarely ever second guess what the person is saying, but they will jump on the bandwagon because they love and or respect that celebrity or that influencer or that person who's giving the message. So I think because Kim K is hated a lot, especially among people of color, that the message was totally lost. I get that. I understand. I understand how problematic Kim K is. The message is accurate. Nobody does want to work nowadays, especially not this younger generation. Like, nobody wants to work. And I honestly, before I go rag on the younger generation, because I'm a millennial, I don't even fucking want to work. I'm going to be real with you. I don't want to work. I mean, I don't know how many times I'm in the group chat with my friends, and we are all very successful women. We are, from government jobs, from doctors, lawyers, to event planners, to administrators. I mean, grad school degrees, master degrees, PhDs, certificates, licensure, all of it, right? I can go on and on and on. My friends are dope. Um, but we're flourishing. Yeah. But anyways, aside from the point, but despite our success, we all always say like, I'm tired of fucking working. Like, where is my husband? Where is the fact that I just want to go on vacation? I want to stay at home. I want to be a mom. Like, I don't want to fucking work. And even though we're blessed to be able to work, we're grateful that we have the opportunity. We don't want to work. And so when we think about it, I feel like in 2022, a lot of the things that we see on social media and just in reality is that it's all about now working smarter and not harder. So the thing is like, how can you take your degree and work smarter and not harder? How can you create a brand from that, right? How can you market that? How you can create reels or create this brand? And I think in that it's like, okay, I'm not working harder. I want to work smarter, and that's just that. So say I'm gonna leave that part there. I don't want to fucking work. Kim was right. And then two, and then two, this generation really doesn't want to work because they, unlike I feel like millennials, we have a great idea of kind of the before life, before social media, right? Before being a YouTuber and a influencer was a thing. We are part of the world where your degree matters, right? But this new generation isn't necessarily into the whole I need to get a degree, I need to get certified, I need to get these things. They're more so like instant gratification type shit. And because of that, this younger generation does really look to a lot of the things that they see on Instagram and social media, the luxury, the bags, the cars, looking at like Everybody wants to be like the Aries, the Jadas, the social media influencers, the girls who are just modeling clothes, who look good, who live in a luxury and lavish lifestyle, rocking the gyms, the jewels, who are dating rappers, who, everybody knows them because of, who they're dating, what they're wearing, and what they just said that was probably really ridiculous online. That is what most of the youth of today are looking towards. That's inspiration. And granted, I do really admire this younger generation for their hustle, for the fact that they are being able to make the big bucks without the degrees. Like, it takes creativity, it takes consistency, and primarily it takes what? Work. And so a lot of times I think the younger people see that these celebrities and influencers have these things, but they don't really get to see the work behind it. They don't really get to see how much it took to get there. They just see the glamour. And for some of them, again, like the Aries and the Jadas, they may not have worked hard. They may have just kind of got it through, who they know are, again, who they're dating. But there are a lot of people out here who have businesses, who are influencers and doing a lot of the flashy, but they're working hard for it, and it looks easy to everyone on Instagram. And sometimes people don't show the background work or what they actually are doing. That's what everyone is looking to be. And they're thinking they don't have to put in a lot of work. Like, they want it instantly, right? They want it instantly. And I honestly think Kim was talking about those people, especially the younger group who are content creators, who are thinking that the shit is easy. And she's telling them to get your ass up and work, that you have to work for it. Now, granted, again, Kim may not have been the best person to say it, but sometimes I think you're gonna have to take the message and run with it, people. Like, I know, like, everything that you need to hear in life is not gonna come from somebody who you adore, admire, and is your mentor. Sometimes you just need to take the fucking message and ignore who the fuck is coming from. Just to be honest, like, a broken clock has to be right at least twice a day, right? So come on, like, get with it. And I honestly think too, when we think about, like, you have to work for it, and I think about content creators. Like, I remember before doing this podcast and starting to create my own podcast Instagram page, I used to look at people who are on Instagram, who are influencers, who are creating reels, who are creating, quote unquote, what we say with content, right? Because a lot of times people would say, I'm a content creator. And our millennials generation will be like, what the fuck is like, you ain't got no job. Tommy, you ain't got no job, Tommy. Like, Tommy, you ain't working. And but since starting my podcast, I realized, like, creating content is a full-time fucking job. Like, it could literally be a full-time job of, like, starting your Instagram page, getting followers, being able to get so many followers that you can get paid off of ads, and then also just creating content. Like, it takes time, like, to do a reel, to make sure you look good when you do the reel, to make sure you're editing the reel. It takes a lot of time, because I honestly don't think that Instagram is that friendly when it comes to editing reels. And then on top of that, it's posting, saving posts, doing drafts, making the right song. It takes a lot of time. I think of the same thing when I do Canvas. I do a lot of things with Canva. Going into Canva and creating a post or a story from scratch takes a lot of fucking time. It takes what? It takes fucking work. It takes work. Even if you think about this podcast, sometimes I do this podcast and it's not Sunday, and it's after I already have worked a full-time job, and I'm coming in and doing this podcast. What am I doing? I'm getting my ass up and working. So I feel like, even though you're like, oh, you're just doing a podcast, or oh, you're just posting pictures, sometimes people are posting pictures and doing podcasts because they're hoping that this will take off, or this will get them somewhere or go somewhere further than just maybe their friends listening or their friends supporting, which, awesome. I love my friends for supporting this podcast. I really do. I appreciate all of you and my family. Shout out to all of you who are tuning in. At the same time, it takes work to make it bigger than yourself, like, to make it bigger than what you maybe imagine. And so I think that's what Kim was saying, that you just have to get up and work and do things. And a lot of times we look at celebrities, we look at influencers, and we think that it comes easy. And I think especially this younger generation thinks that it just takes a few laughs, a he, a ha ha ha, and boom, bam, I'm famous. But even after, say, your shit goes viral, it takes work to maintain, to be consistent, to make people continue to listen, to continue to watch, to continue to be interested. It all takes work. When I look at Also, my favorite couple, the Ellises. I look at Deval and Kadeen, and they talk about their thing where Deval was always making content. He was making content when nobody was watching, but he said he was consistent in making his content. That took work, and they had regular jobs, right? So I think a lot of times, again, the catch with Kim, people are saying like people have regular 9 to 5 jobs, and they're working hard. But I feel like when you thinking about, the question was about business, and I want to say it was about women in business, but business people, business persons, entrepreneurs. But when you are working a 9 to 5 and you have, say, you're trying to start your own business, it does it not take work? Like it takes work. Like you have to get up and put in the extra time, and not saying that you're, and I think too, it's not saying that people aren't hard workers. So I don't think it's saying that y'all are fucking lazy and y'all not working. I think it's more so like you have to probably work harder. Like you have to continue to thrive and figure out how to make your goal or whatever your business is profitable, to make it, because I mean, if you think about how much time, like someone can start a business, but the time and effort it takes for your business to actually start to make a profit, and you're like getting out of the hole, getting out of the red, it takes a long time. And so again, you have to work. So I'm not caping for Kim K. I'm not saying like, she's right in the things that she does, because she's totally problematic in a lot. But I don't want you all to miss the message in what she was saying, because she fucking said it. It's definitely, it's accurate. And I see a lot of times, especially again with just people, and like just people just not wanting to work. And I think it's okay, like if you don't want to work. Like I don't want to work, but I gotta work. How else am I gonna do the things that I want to do? I can't travel if I don't work. um my motivation. But it's also just the fact of the matter that, again, this younger generation, just they I don't want to always pinpoint on them, but I think I have to, because this is where we are in 2022. And it's like, again, you also see this scammer culture, like where everyone is scamming. Everyone has this own scam where it's built up so much that you have things like the Twinder swindler, and you have things like Anna Delvey. And not saying, like, again, some of those things happen before 2022, but at the same time is of a culture of, I don't really want to work like a 9 to 5 or really put in a lot of work. I'd rather kind of swindle someone, get someone else's money, have somebody else put in the work for me. And I think that's kind of like this scam culture where you see all these people did these fucking PPE loans. Like it just it's a more where people want the luxury, people want to live the life, they want to travel, and Instagram shows you that, social media shows you the luxury, the life of champagne flowing from the ceiling, and all these trips and extravagant things, and you want to own your own business, but it takes time. And then people are like, I don't want a 9 to 5, I want to be my own boss. But when you're your own boss, you work around the fucking clock. You don't just work 9 to 5, you work 24 hours, 24/7, you're working. And I don't know. I think I understood the message. It made sense to me. A lot of people said they didn't get it. I also think that she was talking to a specific people. I think she was talking a lot up to content creators. I think she was talking a lot to this younger generation. And even just talking to my coworker today about people coming in for jobs and they want to work a part-time but make a full-time salary. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, that's not how it works. And she's like rubbing her head, because we really need people to come in and work. But it's like it's a disconnect. It's really a disconnect. And so I think it's okay to tell somebody that, it takes work. And I also was listening to another podcast, and that was also kind of giving also kind of using my take, the take that I was having on about what Kim K said. And they was also saying that even though she comes from privilege, even though all her money came from a sex tape, it still took work to do the shit that she did, right? Like, you can get money and you can be, who you are. But at the same time, to maintain that shit, to flip that shit, to turn that shit into something way more, to put on all of your family members, like, you just really, it takes, I mean, it takes work. But the fact that we really have to acknowledge the fact that she's been able to sustain her existence and presence and flip her money for this fucking long, like, we're still talking about fucking Kim Kardashian. Like, it's been a long ass time. You have to give some credit. Like, the bitch work. She has to work. And maybe it's Hollywood work. Maybe it's not working class work. But I think that the thing where it came for the question was asking about women in business, people in business. And granted, people can work 9 to 5s and have entrepreneurships and be business persons. And when we think about business, it does take a certain amount of work that you have to go the extra mile. And again, whether you are, and I'm being funny, but whether you're a sex worker, whether you are a whore, whether you're a scammer, whether you're an Instagram influencer, it takes some type of amount of work. Persistence is key. It has to. You have to work for the things that you want. And a lot of times when we look at things on social media, when we see them, and I be looking at people, I'm like, how are they still going on vacation after vacation after vacation? How are they buying all these name brand and luxury items? I want to buy these things too. I don't know if they're working or not, but we usually don't see that, right? We don't see it. It just looks all easy. It looks like it all comes, but we don't get to see the behind the scenes, the people who are working and putting in nighttime oil and burning the hour, people who are up night crying or maybe praying, are working on content, are editing and doing all those things. We don't see the behind the scenes. And so a lot of times we think all of this shit is just easy. It looks easy, you know? Sometimes people use to brag and say, I make it look easy. And it does, but it doesn't mean that it is. And sometimes you just have to realize or tell people, or like, again, the message is you have to get up and work. It's not easy creating content. I mean, I know it looks fun and easy, but it's a lot of editing and work that goes into it, trust. And so I just feel like, again, when we think about this message, that even if you don't like who the messenger is, take the message and run with it. Take it, because I'm pretty sure it's somebody out there who needed to hear it. It's somebody out here who thinks that, who's probably working hard, who think it shouldn't take this much. It shouldn't be this much. It should be easier. And I said in the beginning, like, work smarter, not harder. But even when we work smarter, there's still going to be work that involves in it, right? It's work smarter, not harder, but it doesn't say work smart, not hard. Like, you still have to work something. You still have to put in some type of effort for whatever you want. Lighten. And I remember, again, when I said this in the No Fairy Tale, that everything in life that you want, everything in life that you feel like is worth having, is worth working for. You have to work for it. And so I'm not, and so I think when someone tells you that you have to work for it, I don't think it negates the fact that maybe you are already working. But I think sometimes it can be also an amount of encouragement when people are working and it doesn't seem like the results or the outcome is coming fast enough, especially when you're on Instagram. And I keep bringing up social media because a lot of times we compare ourselves to other things that we see and other people. And I think when we see those things and see people getting it and having fun and doing all those things, we sometimes get discouraged, or we lose kind of some faith in our projects and the things that we're doing. And it seems like, oh, this shit ain't gonna never pop off or be what I really want it to be. But I think if you continue to be consistent, you continue to work, you continue to grind, you know what I'm saying? You continue to get it, then it'll come. And in order to get it, you got to get your asses up and work for it. And that's just it. And then also, too, I want to just say this one last thing about toxicity in the workplace. Yes, not everybody can control the environments that they work in, especially, again, if you don't really have much choice over where you work or what you do. Because a lot of people in this world don't. They just work because they need that check, right? Especially with these gas prices soaring up to the sky. And so when you think about, though, building a business, building an entrepreneurship, I think that there is some leverage and control that comes with that, where you are able to surround people in your business, surround yourself with people in your business that you trust, that you might like, that aren't toxic. And so, again, it's looking at the audience. Who was she talking to? Was she talking to the working class? I don't really think so. I don't even think the question really geared to the working class. It geared to people in business. And yes, people in business can also be working class. But when we're thinking about the business aspect of it, there should be some leverage, even if you are just hiring one or two people. I remember I was listening to a recently of a friend, and she had a live, and she was talking about one of her goals for her business was that she hired her sister, and then she wanted to hire her sister and I think her friend, and I hope I got that right, but yeah, she wanted to put her sister and her friend on her payroll, and that was her goal. I think in that sense, she's cultivating an environment of employees that are not toxic. She's creating an environment. Not only is she building a legacy where her business can be tied to her family and tied to her friends and building wealth within her group, right? but she's also making sure that she's going to work in an environment around people that she trusts, people that she loves, and people that's going to bring positive vibes and energy. And I think that's possible, right? I think that's very much possible. So again, it's all about how you interpret the message. And I think a lot of times we can't always kill the messenger, and we can't always expect to hear great things from our mentors, our people that we look up to. Sometimes that message is going to come from the person we dislike the most, but are you going to catch the message? Are you going to listen to the message, or are you going to just ignore it because you don't like the person? All right, y'all. Well, food for thought. I'm going to pop out on this one. But peace, love, and chicken grease. And thanks for listening. Peace. Bye.